Hello, Empire family. Today, we're in Atlanta, Georgia at the Tunnels to Tower Foundation, where we built a state-of-the-art media room. And we're gonna get to the details of this room. Dual displays, surround sounds, 4K laser projectors. Let's start this video. Let's break down the products. In this room, we have 7 in-ceiling speakers. We have 1 in-wall subwoofer powered by a separate subwoofer amplifier. We have a 4K laser projector connected to a 120-inch retractable screen. We have a separate 65-inch 4K commercial display. All of this is powered and controlled by Control 4. Now let's get to the details of each room. All right, so let's break down the media room. As you can see, I have a retractable screen connected to a 4K laser projector. We do have a surround sound in this room with 5 in-ceiling speakers and then a separate subwoofer. The reason we separated the zones was to make this zone an actual surround sound, and the secondary zone, it's the HD zone from the receiver to allow them to play the same thing or fully separate the rooms. Let's go play some pool. In this room, we have a 65-inch 4K Samsung and a pair of in-ceiling speakers. This is connected to the HD zone of the Denon 3800 that we've set up. For simplicity and connectivity, we actually ran HDMI to this TV and HDMI to the projector because the rack and all of the equipment is actually on the other side of the room. Everything in this building is controlled by Control 4 to allow simplicity and ease of use. We do have a T4 that's connected in the front, and controls the entire building, but the actual managers of the building have the Control 4 app from their phone so they can control each room individually. This is connected to a Roku for streaming, for movie nights, for Netflix, and whatever you want. But as you can see, we're also using it as digital signage. All of the TVs in this building are Samsung commercial displays, so they can stay all night, day, hours and hours and hours. As you can see, we are using them for digital signage, and the client has the option to select and update this as often as they want. Now that I've talked about the products and everything that's in here, let's talk about the installation. So first, let's talk about the design and cabling, because this project actually started before we ever stepped a foot in this building. We grabbed our plans, we selected location for our 5.1, selected location for our projector, our screen, and everything that was gonna go on in this room. Then we came by and we ran 16 2-conductor wires to each of the speakers. We ran Cat cabling to the projector, to the screen, another one between the projector and the screen, and another one for the television. From there, we got to installation. Each of these speakers were cut out into the ceiling tiles and mounted, connected to make sure that they were connected properly to the receiver in the back of the room. From there, we actually mounted the screen. One of the things critical to think about when you're mounting the screen is stud placement. So the first thing that we did is that we founded all of our studs on this wall. We selected the middle of the room where we wanted to mount the screen, and then we got the mounting. Now, leveling everything in this room is extremely important. There's a lot of lines, there's a lot of things happening, so making sure that you have a level to mount your screen, super important. From there, we went to the projector. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that the projector comes down that the screen comes down when the projector turns on. That's because we have a 12-volt trigger connected between the projector and the screen. What does that mean? That when you actually turn the projector on, it sends a little power to the screen and tells it, hey, I'm on, go ahead and open up. And when it turns off, it's actually gonna say, hey, I'm off, go ahead and close up. Another thing that we did here is we ran HDMI from here to the rack directly behind that wall, and an Ethernet cable. The Ethernet cable is connected to it so we can keep it online. The HDMI is what we're using for video. This run is only about 35 feet, and we didn't want to bring in extra pieces like valens or converters to eliminate any future issues. So HDMI from here to there is exactly what we did. Whenever we mounted the projector, the first thing that you have to do is mount your ceiling mount. There is a pole, and that's something to consider, is where you're going to mount your projector. Always keeping in mind that every projector has a throw distance. That's the distance between the screen and the lens, the minimum and maximum it can be based on the size of the screen. Once you determine the distance, you're going to mount your projector, and then you want to level it out. Things to consider is that all projectors have keystones. That means how you angle it, how you twist it. But the best way of mounting a projector is actually leveling it out, making it as centered, as level as you can. And then from there, majority of newer projectors are going to have a lens shift that is going to allow you to shift the entire image down, right or left. That way it's a true square or rectangle in this essence, and no corners cave in. If you ever mounted a projector and it looked like this or like this, it's probably because it was angled and you need to adjust the keystone. But the keystone does affect the picture quality. So if you have blend shift, go that route. Then we moved into the installation of the TVs. Now we've made a lot of videos on how to mount TVs, so this will be a quick recap, but make sure to find your studs, mount your stuff, and your TV. However, I do want to highlight the back of the TV because there's a lot of stuff going on back here. We do have a Versa plate to house a switch, a Roku, an audio baling, and all of the power, right? Keeping everything neat behind the TV and keeping everything organized is going to be crucial for any future servicing. So make sure that you set everything up, label it, connect it correctly. And as I mentioned, this has an HDMI running from here to the receiver because it's used as the HD zone out too. But since we've been talking about the rack and the receiver, let's go check it out. Keep in mind that this is the rack that powers the Control4 for the entire building. So I'll give you a quick breakdown, but we're gonna focus on the receiver that's at the bottom of this rack. Obviously, we wanna hardwire everything so we have a network switch. Control4 is our processing power. So we wanna make sure that this Core 1 is connected to the network, set up, and ready to roll. Power management and audio distribution, we do have an Atlas atmosphere system. This is how we're using and connecting the Bluetooth from all of the building into each individual zone with this matrix amplifiers. This right here is the individual subwoofer that I discussed for the in-wall subwoofer. And this bad boy right here is the Denon 3800. This is a 9-channel receiver with an HD zone out. What does that mean? This receiver has the option to do a single surround sound with 9 channels, or you can actually separate 2 of the channels and an HDMI output and do whatever you want with it. What does that mean? That you can connect one Roku, one cable box, and one PlayStation and send it simultaneously to 2 different displays. However, if you want to separate them and play the Roku on your 5.1 surround sound and your Xbox on your Zone 2, you can do that. Cable management is extremely important. So as you can see, we have a patch panel with jumpers running into our rack. As you can see, the back of the rack, there's a lot going on, but everything is neatly dressed up and labeled to make sure that we know exactly where we're going, and if anything needs to be serviced in the future, we can actually address it. The receiver down here is where your speakers, your surround sound, your receiver, and everything is connected to. So it's very important that you keep this nice, neatly dressed up in case you have to service it one day. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, right now would be a perfect time to do it. It costs you nothing to do that, but it does help the algorithm know that people are watching and people are tuning in. So hit that subscribe button. Let's continue with the video. Now, as I mentioned previously, this entire room and this entire building is controlled by Control4. This is the Control4 app. I'm hoping that you can get a quick view of what it looks like, but I'll give you a summary. Control4 is actually divided into rooms. So every room in the building is going to be set up in here. In this scenario, the theater is the room behind me. In a perfect world, or usually when this is turned off, any shortcut to any of the displays will trigger the projector to turn on and the screen to drop. But in this scenario, things are already on, as you can see down here. I can actually go to the theater Roku. I can select the remote control. We have the clickable option and the gesture option that for me is actually a little bit easier to use. I wanted to show you how responsive and fast it actually works. And the beautiful thing is that when you're done using it, you go here, you can power it off, and then you're good to go. Now, it's time to shut this video down. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Look, listen, and live with Empire AV. Go watch yourself another video.